Hi there and welcome to this drawing tutorial where I want to draw with the pastel pencils, and I want to draw a little baby duck, a little chickie duck. Not sure how you call it in English, but I just love it. And for this sketch I am using a Canson pastel paper. And for the setup I am using the dark brown pastel pencil. And what I want to do first is to decide where the head is going to be. And as you can see, the head is not completely round, it's a little bit square. And you can see the eye sitting in the center of his face. And the eye is shining bright inside, and he has those markings on the side of his head, just around the eyes, making him look like a little bandit. And this is his chest, the breast, the duckling breast, and here is the back of the back, and that's sloping down all the way towards the tiny tail that he has there. So the body is quite a simple shape to see. And what you also can see are the markings that are on the top of his back. Now, should you want to see the complete tutorial all in real time, live drawing by me, you can always watch me on Patreon, on my Patreon site if you want. Now, I got the picture from, I think, Pinterest or something, but I wanted to add a little detail of my own for this drawing. I want to give him Wellingtons. Those are those rubber boots that you can see children walking in them when they start to play in the pedals outside. So I thought that was a nice, nice twist to add a little bit of my own imagination in this drawing. And on the bottom he is kind of walking on the pavement, and there's a tiny layer of water here on the curve maybe, and so there are some wrinkles in the water and a little bit of a shadow underneath the Wellingtons. Now what I'm doing next is adding color. So the first setup I did with the dark brown pastel pencil, but now I'm going to blend those together. And for blending I use a blender stick, but also the white pastel pencil. The tip of the beak is a little bit more orange, and in the feathers themselves there's a lot of yellow ochre. So I simply put in an under layer of the yellow ochre on the rough Canson paper, and in that way I get a fair idea of how the feathers, the color of the feather can shine through. There's a dark line alongside the beak, and of course the eyes are very dark, and he has that little banded stripe on the side of the face. So I love that. It makes it a very nice little duckling. And here I'm starting to blend the yellow ochre with a little bit of white. I also apply the white on the top of the beak. And what I'm very careful about is that I do not get a hard edge on the contour line, but I try to keep it as soft as possible by drawing through the line. And on the body I also place an underlayer of the yellow ochre, and then I can just simply start putting small stripes in the direction of the growth of the little feathers. And in that way I'm using the white to blend the yellow ochre and the white together. Now for the markings on the back, I used the dark brown again, and I simply try to copy the markings that I see in my reference picture. Here on the back of the neck, the brown is a little bit darker, and on the sides and on the way to the tail, the brown is a little bit lighter. But again, I'm using the white pastel pencil to push in the pigments into the rough paper. And this is the blender stick. You can also use the blender stick to force those pigments into the paper and to partially get rid of the structure of the paper itself. But I want to make the coat as soft as possible, so I continue to draw in the little stripes. And here on the belly there's a bit of shadow, so I simply use a light gray. But I still want to make sure that there are no harsh contour lines, so I want to keep the little baby duck as soft as possible. Here are the little banded stripes. Push those in too. And you can see the nose entrance, a little bit of shadow here underneath the jawline. And well, then it's time for the boots, of course. And for the boots I'm using a very dark red combined with a light red. And I use the dark red for the shadowy parts on the Wellingtons, and the lighter red for the sunny sides of the boots. And also the soles are of the same plastic or rubber if you want. And for the inside of the boots I use a very dark gray to get some shadow going on the inside of the boots. And I also put in a little bit of profile here on the soles of the boots. I think that's a nice detail, of course. And then I pick up my white pastel pencil again, and I push in the pigments into the paper with the white pastel pencil. So in that way the boots become a little bit more shiny, and I can blend the pigments together. Now for the pavement, where the little duck is trotting on, I use a little bit of mid-gray and a little bit of light blue, just light blue, to get some little bit of reflection of the sky on the surface of the water. And I used a very dark gray for the wrinkles in the water, and of course the shadows underneath the boots. Just imagining the light coming from the top. And then for the surface, of course, I also again use the white pastel pencils to get a little bit of shine on the surface of the tiny layer of water on the pavement here. Then I'll just, once your drawing is progressing, I always go back in, checking if I need a little bit more contrast here and there. So I do that with the Setup Pastel Pencil, the dark brown, just to get some contrast going. And checking the eye should be shining, of course. He has those little beady eyes and those banded stripes. And for a little bit of special effect, I'll just put in some splashes of water that are going upwards. And again, I want to be sure that I do not have any harsh lines. I want the baby duck to look as soft as possible. So again, I apply a little bit of little white stripes here and there to get the duck as fluffy as possible, because well, that's the way that they grow their feathers once they are young. They have those tiny little feathers. A little bit of extra splashes here and there. And then, well, my duck is done. My little Easter duck. And I hope you will give this a try too. It's a very nice way of using your imagination and just create something of your own. And again, you can see the real-time tutorial on my Patreon page. So should you visit me there, you're very welcome indeed. So thanks for watching and take care.